It was a gray and gloomy week in Portland because the rain had lasted the entire time. I loved how peaceful, melancholy, and slow-paced everything became during snowfall. My name is Jason Whitmore, a 28-year-old software consultant, and despite my neat apartment and stable income, I felt adrift. I was staring out the window of my home office when I saw the boutique across the street, Elara Custom Transformations. I'd passed it a dozen times but never paid attention. Though my home is tidy and I have a steady salary, right now I'm experiencing something new inside me. There was a simple black awning with rain spots, and the words, "Reveal your true form," were woven in brass above it. I'm unsure why I decided to cross the road. It could have been the rain that influenced him. Perhaps it was seeing my reflection in the mirror before I left. I couldn't shake a bad feeling. The bell above the door made a sound as I entered the shop. Lavender and aged wood gave off a scent that reminded me of the past. A woman, stylishly wearing a blazer, looked up from behind the counter and smiled. "Welcome, Jason. We were waiting for you to arrive." I stopped, drenched and feeling a little shocked. "How do you know who I am?" I asked. The woman named Mara gave a gentle chuckle. "We could put it this way. This place attracts the people it needs. Come in. You seem as though you have waited forever to enter that door." Even though I was anxious, I went inside due to a feeling I couldn't define. The boutique was peaceful and had soft music, reflective mirrors and mannequins dressed to look girlish, and almost seemed to move. The atmosphere changed as soon as I walked into Camilla's studio. Jazz music sounded quietly, and the room was scented with jasmine. Distorted reflections of my nervous eyes were visible in all the mirrors arranged around the room. Camilla gave a comforting look and spoke in a calm way. "Jordan, the challenges you face are only meant for you. Trust yourself." I had a hard time swallowing, thanks to excitement and anxiety in me at the same time. Is it possible for me to become just like her, the person I often dreamed of becoming? Camilla gave me a small makeup brush and pointed at a vanity with many colors and creams. "We'll begin the interview now," she said. "Growth can occur inside us as well as around us." Whilst she put on my foundation, her hands were gentle and had a soothing effect. When I looked at her, I started to feel my fear disappear and be replaced by something bolder. "Take a moment to look at yourself," she said.
Looking in the mirror, I hardly recognized who looked back at me. I had a gentler jawline, and my eyes showed more signs of life. "You have a lovely presence, Jordan. This is only the first step in the process." I thought to myself, this is not working out. I can't walk in these heels. My voice almost choked me as I talked, not only from nervousness, but from seeing the strange image in the mirror down the hall. My face was rounder compared to before. I have fuller lips now, I assure you, Camilla stated as she smiled. "You are already going in the right direction. Jordan, I am noticing how wonderful you appear nowadays. Just let the music carry you away." Moments later, I felt a surge of electricity in my arm when she touched my fingers. I drew my coat closer as we entered the dark and wet streets in Portland. The city was shaken by low rumbles of thunder affixed to its sky. "Are we on our way somewhere?" I nervously asked the man. Camilla's red umbrella unfolded automatically when she used it. She saw it as a place where I could finally be myself. There was no need for talking as we moved on, puddles below showing reflections of the lights all around us, while my heeled shoes clicked more loudly than my beating heart. I couldn't decide if I was nervous or thrilled, but I knew something once done could not be changed now. We found an abandoned bookstore after heading there with her. The bricks of the house were covered in climbing vines. She pushed open the wooden door, and it made a squeaking noise. The inside of the shop smelled of lavender and ink. Standing behind the counter was a tall, elegant lady with silver hair and eyes that surprised me whenever we met. She introduced me as Elara. She follows through with everything I start. She looked at me before saying, "Disrobe, let go. We bring out the woman who has been inside you all along." I hesitated, but Camilla squeezed my hand in a gentle manner. She smiled and said, "You're safe here with me." Then I moved to the area behind the curtain and took off my coat before looking in the mirror again. I looked as if I had lost some weight around my waist. I have a fuller chest now. Could what happened in the movie really occur? I shivered as I put on the lovely silk dress they gave me. I experienced a sensation that was soft like moonlight. When I left their place, Elara and Camilla looked each other in the eye. Elara said, "We can begin now." Elara directed me to a mirrored frame of gold, as epic heroines often find in picturesque fairy tales. "Jordan, pay attention to what you see," she hinted with her calm yet firm voice. Her actions and loud voice stirred the air around me as she sang a spell I couldn't understand. My reflection was reflecting and flickering like a light caught by wind. In the blink of an eye, I noticed my fingers had become more modern, with perfectly glossy red nails. I gave a surprised gasp rather than feeling afraid. As Camilla took a step nearer, her eyes sparkled with joy. "This is the person you were always meant to be." I gently touched my own face and was amazed by how soft it felt. Now, the silk outfit draped over me like a dream, making my curves more visible than I ever thought possible. There was an unusual sense of joy trembling through my heart. It seemed like I was waking after a long sleep, and I felt truly alive at last. On the street, there was no longer any rain, and all of the wet ground shone brightly in the streetlights. While I walked in my heels, Camilla and Elara held my hand and walked beside me. Each picture showed me how confident I really am. Crowds of people seemed interested, looking at us for a while and smiling. I finally allowed my true light to shine for the first time. On that Portland night, I realized everything in front of me had been changed forever. We stopped at a small cafe, and I found the windows were so warmly steamy. Camilla encouraged me to mark the occasion with a party. "You did a great job." I took a sip of hot coffee, and it made me feel warm. What I enjoyed most was the way it made me feel useful and part of something meaningful with unlimited potential. My image in the cafe window looked cheerful and unfamiliar, but now it was nothing but a bright future. While the night continued, I began to appreciate the women who recognized my worth long before I could. "Thank you," I whispered in a steady and confident voice. Camilla held my hand tightly and her eyes were full of tears. "This is only the beginning, Jordan. You're unstoppable." I smiled, a smile that touches your heart. And so, I became part of something new, something bold, beautiful, and all my own. The time after that was full of excitement and activity. Every day when I woke up, I felt more like the woman in the mirror than the man I was before. My colleagues barely recognized me at work, but I didn't mind their surprised expressions. I held myself with more confidence, talked quietly, and smiled more. Every action I took was a sign that I didn't need anyone's approval to live as I wanted. One evening, Camilla invited me to a small gathering of friends, artists, dreamers, and rebels like us. The room buzzed with laughter and music, faces glowing in candlelight. They didn't just accept me, they celebrated me. For the first time, I felt what true freedom tasted like. It wasn't just about changing how I looked. It was about claiming my story, my voice. But change wasn't without its shadows. Old doubts whispered at the edges of my mind. Would I ever be truly accepted? Could I trust these new feelings? Or was I chasing an illusion? One rainy night, alone in my apartment, I stared at my reflection and asked the hardest question. Who am I now? The answer wasn't simple, but deep inside, I knew the journey was real. With each day, my confidence grew. I learned to navigate the world with new eyes, sometimes full of wonder, sometimes guarded, but always honest. And through it all, Camilla and Elara remained my anchors, reminding me that transformation wasn't just skin deep. It was about breaking free from fear and stepping into my true self, no matter the cost. That spring, under a sky painted with the softest pinks and blues, I walked through the city streets, feeling the warmth of sunlight on my skin. The rain had finally washed away more than just the grime. It had cleansed my soul. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. The woman in the mirror was here to stay, and she was unstoppable. Then came the unexpected, a message from someone I never thought I'd hear from again. Alex, my childhood friend, reaching out after months of silence. His words were hesitant, unsure, but beneath them, I felt a flicker of hope. Could I rebuild what was broken? Or had I changed too much for him to understand who I really was now? Meeting Alex again was like stepping into a storm. Old memories clashed with new realities. He looked at me, not with judgment, but confusion, curiosity, even a hint of admiration. I wanted to scream that this was who I'd always been inside, but I let silence speak instead, hoping my courage would be enough to bridge the gap. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Alex began to see me, not the past, but the present. Our conversations grew deeper, filled with vulnerability and truth. For the first time, I realized that acceptance wasn't just about others. It started with forgiving myself. And in that fragile space, something beautiful began to bloom. However, some people were not willing to change. After I spoke out in a harsh way, people at work stopped smiling at me and began to give me chilly looks. All of a sudden, the city that welcomed me was sharp and remote. Yet, I discovered that my scars gave me the will to stand up for myself, doing this step by step as I grew. On a clear night, standing on my balcony and looking at the city lights, I understood things much better. All the hardships, fear, and challenging times made me bold and independent. The woman in the mirror stood for more than herself. She started a revolution. Regardless of what happened, I was always ready to deal with it positively. When I woke up the next day, I found an email waiting for me, inviting me to address the local community about how I overcame my challenges. I was both excited and a little bit scared. Would I be able to address a group and speak my mind honestly? Still, I understood this moment gave me the power to transform my experiences for the better and inspire others restricted by silence. The event took place, and when I stepped onto the stage, everyone became quiet. Some people are curious, while others are doubtful. Yet I paused, allowing all my memories and feelings from the past and present to come together. I shared my true feelings about fear, rejection, transformation, and hope. The words came out freely, just like a river bursting through a dam. The applause was very loud after my speech, but what really touched me were the tears I saw in the eyes of those who came to speak with me. Many people talked about what they had gone through. In that room, I found someone to share my thoughts with. We were a group of people dealing with our own problems, but supporting each other with our strength. However, life's challenges were not finished yet. Suddenly, all my efforts to stay confident were ruined as someone I trusted told others my secrets in a malicious way. The invasion of my privacy hurt me deeply and almost made me want to hide again. However, this time, I decided not to fade away. I got out of my seat and stood up straight, letting everyone know how fierce I was. I accepted the betrayal by being honest, not by getting angry. The people around me strengthened me, protecting me from the mean comments. This battle was shared by all who have ever felt ignored or overlooked. The community's encouragement motivated me to start a blog where I could describe my daily life in an honest way. Writing was like letting out my emotions, and the feedback was amazing. Many people I did not know sent me messages, thanking me for speaking out about what they'd experienced for so long. I discovered that my journey was giving strength to others. Making a change can be hard. There were moments when people would use cruel words to put me down. I realized early on that being strong meant picking myself up after each time I fell. I stopped being afraid of being true to myself and began showing my flaws as well. Her strong honesty attracted people who wanted to hear what she had to say. It was then that I first met Alex, someone who kept to himself, reflected a lot, and understood challenges because he had lived through his own. One of the things we talked about at night were questions about who we are and how we make it through. Being with him made me calm, since it seemed he was showing me how all relationships have the power to make us better. We shared our dreams and made them bigger. We arranged workshops, provided a safe environment for others, and established a place where no one felt isolated. Every little success made me feel great, since it showed I was making a difference beyond myself. Looking at my past, I hardly saw the person I used to be. The process was tough, chaotic, and full of beauty. I faced many losses, but I also gained a new family, a reason to live, and confidence to be myself. All in all, I realized that the greatest change happens within ourselves, not only in our appearance. That night, looking at myself in the mirror, I saw a person who was whole, bold, and set free. I cried, but it wasn't from pain anymore. They were tears of joy. All the battles I experienced and the marks I have are what shaped me. Now, I'm not only getting by, I'm thriving. Just remember, if you find it difficult to open up, your story is equally important as anyone else's. Your truth is powerful. The world hopes you will share your true self, your power and your beauty with everyone. Don't wait for permission. Don't listen to doubt. Own your transformation and watch how your life changes. Even though it is often hard, the experience makes it all worthwhile. And when you finally embrace yourself fully, the freedom you feel, it's unlike anything else in this world. So take that first step. Be bold, be brave. Most importantly, never shrink away from being yourself.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.